Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this Sunday afternoon Dhamma discussion, and today we're continuing our look at the verses of the Dhammapada. And last week we finished the chapter on the flowers chapter, the fourth chapter of the Dhammapada. And today we want to start the chapter 5, the Balavagga, or the chapter on fools. Now, a little clarification. When I know the Buddha used the word fools quite a lot, and some people in this country might think that's harsh language. But again, the Buddha was always coming from the point of view of the Dhamma, and so a fool here pertains to somebody who basically doesn't practice the Dhamma and is basically kind of a Dhamma, or does things that are antithetical to the practice of Dhamma, like doesn't care about following precepts, is lazy, always just getting talk up in all kind of speech and so on. So anyway, of course that does refer to quite a lot of people, I imagine. But so this first verse is number 60, if you're following in, if you have a Dhammapada, verse number 60, or the first verse in chapter 5. So I'm going to again read the Pali verse and then the English translation. Diga jarato rati digam santasayo janam digo balanam samsaro sadhammam avijanatam. Long is the night to the wakeful, long is the league to the weary, long is samsara to the foolish who know not the sublime truth. So when it says long is the night to the wakeful, that means it's referring to people who can't sleep well at night. So they stay up a lot of the night worrying about this or that, tossing and turning. And so it seems like the night is very long for them because they're spending 8 hours awake. Now, when you're in deep sleep, time seems to go quite fast. So the wakeful doesn't mean awake in the mindfulness sense, but it means those who are staying awake because their minds are restless and they can't get to sleep and so on. And long is the league. A league is a measure of distance. I don't know exactly what, you heard there was that movie way back in the 50s or 60s called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But anyway, so a league is let's say it's it's a mile or so. But long is the league to the weary. That means the weary again, whose minds are disturbed and full of anxiety, confusion, worry, fear, and so on. And long is samsara to the foolish who know not the sublime truth. So the first two refer to sort of the mundane, about those who, can't sleep well at night, so it seems very long. And the league, if you're traveling, those days, of course, people traveled on foot, right, not in a car. So, if you're walking miles a day, it will seem very weary to one whose mind is, burdened with always thinking about when's it going to end, when am I going to get there, instead of being grounded and relaxed in the present moment. Then long is samsara, and this refers to the rounds of birth and death. So, as most of you, I think, know from previous discussions, there's two meanings of samsara. The common meaning, meaning the mind being reborn from lifetime to lifetime according to its karma. And as the tradition goes, our minds have been going through the rounds of birth and death from body to body for, hundreds and thousands or more lifetimes. But in the more meditative sense, samsara is the process of the mind from moment to moment. The mind moving through the various mental states, sensations, thoughts, moving between the past and the future. But it refers to the jumping of the mind, jumping from one thing to another in an uncontrolled way. So that process of the mind, the simile of a monkey moving through the trees, grabbing one branch and letting go of the other one, and then swinging, and then grabbing another branch, swinging, and he moves through the forest. So our minds move through the day, grabbing at sights, grabbing at sounds, grabbing at body sensations, grabbing at thoughts, and spends most of his day, moving through this samsaric process. And that's what also makes the day seem very long, and it's tiring for the mind. It's weary for the mind. So now there's the story to this verse. It said that one king, King Pasenadi, who was ruling in the kingdom up there in North India, this king came to the Buddha and he said, "Oh, Venerable Sir," he said, the other night, it was really a long night. I really had a long night, He was worrying about all kinds of things, the neighboring king threatening to invade his territory, and then some crime and robbers, and people complaining about lots of things, or somebody in his court trying to swindle him and steal, or scheme on his wives or something. So, he says, he had a particular long night. And another person came and told, the Buddha, "Oh, that yesterday I had to walk a long distance and I was so tired and so weary after walking all that long distance to get from my home to the palace here." And then the Buddha, having heard these two persons, then summed it up by adding that samsara is long for those who are ignorant of the Dhamma. That means their mind will go on continuing to be born again and again and again through samsara until at least they wake up and realize the state of the sotapanna. Where at the very most, they would have 7 lifetimes to rule, as opposed to many hundreds or thousands. And And if they reach the state of once returner or never returner, then basically hardly any more time in samsara. So again, the Buddha, so many of these Dhammapada verses, the Buddha spontaneously uttered them depending on what was said to him by people, like in these examples, or something that they saw. Does anybody have any thoughts like that? Some of your nights seem to be too long. Or your journey tiring. So basically so long as the samsara to the foolish person, that means the foolish person meaning somebody who doesn't understand the Dhamma, and so they keep on digging their mind and bodies into deeper holes of suffering and anxiety or fear than is necessary. So that's the hallmark or criterion of a foolish person who doesn't understand the basics of how to live peacefully and how to avoid suffering. Okay, if there's no questions come up based on that, let me see, is there a chat concerning a question? Can I control the chats? Oh, Bhaskar, yes. Thank you. A league, it says, is 12 kilometers. Okay, 12 kilometers would be about 5-6 miles. Something like that.
Yes, 8 miles.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, well, that would be long for anybody walking. But, okay, the second verse, verse 61. Charancha narigacheya seyam sadisamattano ekacharyam dalham kaira nati bale sahayata. The translation: if as the disciple fares along, he meets no companion who is better or equal to them in their understanding and practice of the Dhamma, let that person then firmly pursue his solitary career. That means his solitary path toward liberation. There is no fellowship with the foolish. So again here, the term foolish means somebody who sort of doesn't value Dhamma and does their best to drag other people away from their Dhamma practice because they don't want to be seen as, foolish. So that's what some people in modern day politics are doing anyway. They're spreading these foolish, baseless theories, right? And if only one or two believed it, then people would, they're really foolish. But now that millions are accepting it, right? So it seems to gain a more kind of authenticity. But that's because, that's why they would like to spread it. The more people that believe these falsehoods, whether the election was rigged and all that, you see, the more it seems to gain credit. So the same way with the foolish people, they're trying to prevent others from progressing, so that, to try to deny that. So if you don't find anybody who is an equal or better you in Dhamma practice, that means basically somebody who at least practices the Dhamma, and you can meditate with, and have some Dhamma discussion with, and they don't think you're weird or and so on. And they're kind of equal to you. Let's say they can sit as long as you can without pain, or they can, participate in Dhamma discussions kind of equal way, or and so on. Then these are the kind of people we should try to have our friendship with. Of course, we can't always avoid other types of people, but it means to develop solid friendships with them and spend too much time around them. Sure, we have to meet people like that all the time, on the street or in different places, right? But we don't have to spend lots of time with them. Or if you encounter people like that, then gradually, if you find them, sort of, you find that you can't resist their getting lured into their kind of ways, then it's better to back off and not spend so much time with them, and then try to find people that you can relate to with the Dhamma. Okay, now the story that's connected with that verse is there was a teacher, it seems, probably a monk, I guess, with a disciple. And the teacher reproached his pupil for some kind of misconduct. So, maybe he saw the pupil, is too lazy, or is trying to cheat, or in some way, breaking some rules. And he rebuked him, telling him, you shouldn't do that. And then this pupil got displeased, got angry. Teacher, rebuked me, And so this pupil set fire to the teacher's hut and then fled, ran away. And then the Buddha heard about this incident because, whenever something happened, like tattletales here, the grapevine, right? So even in those days, in the Buddha's day, the gossip hotline, nothing can happen that's not going to get reported back, to others and the teachers. So, the Buddha heard about this, and then he commended the teacher, forget these disciples if they're going to act like that. Just do your own practice, and don't be concerned, don't accept these foolish students who don't want to learn and causing trouble. Basically, that was the gist of it. So again, some people might think that this is, uncompassionate, that, we should hang out with foolish people and try to convert them to the Dhamma. Well, maybe if you're at least an anagami or an arahant, then probably you could do that and not be affected, or perhaps probably even a once returner. You could, try to help these people or hang out with them more, hoping that they, and maybe not get affected by them. But if you feel that, again, that you're getting pulled into their orbit, like somebody who was always maybe drinking, and they're kind of, oh, come on, take one drink. Oh, it's not going to matter, and so on. So that's, but most people, wouldn't be able to resist too long that kind of negative influences. So no questions based on that verse?
Ask them to write, or if they want to ask question, ask them to unmute, raise their hand.
If anybody has a question and they want to unmute themselves and raise their hand, you can do that if you have a specific question about that verse. Okay, let's go on to the next verse then. Putta matti dhanam matti iti balo vehanyati attahi attano natti kutto putta kutto dhanam. Now, when I translate this verse, I hope some of you don't get offended. Again, the Buddha was speaking, from the Dhamma point of view. So the translation of that verse is, sons have I, wealth have I, thus the fool is worried because he's afraid of losing or that. Verily, he himself is not his own, whence sons, whence wealth. Now, it takes a good understanding of Dhamma to kind of understand the meaning of that. Because, in the Dhamma, especially when you gain a good insight into the nature of impermanence and the nature of conditioning and no self, we change our whole relationship to the world. And we don't see the world so much as this physical world and the things on it, but the world in terms of samsara, the process of samsara, as it's arising and passing away in the mind moment to moment. And also, we understand that every experience that we have, every person that we meet, even our mother in this life, our father in this life, our brother, our sister, the grandparents in this life, the friends that we might have in this life, the colleagues at work, all of these things are just part of our karmic path. In other words, we've come into contact with these people because there's something to be learned from the experience. And not that these people are your own. We say my mother or my father, and sure, we may be conditioned by them, but they're just a vehicle for our karma to work itself out. And they may be providing certain things within our karmic need to further our progress. And even if it entails having some painful experiences. So, clinging to them as my son, my daughter, or even my wealth, we try to, from the Dhamma point of view, we try to see the world as just flowing through us, all these different things. Maybe what is your wife, or your children, or whatever, but without clinging to them like, you are mine, and trying to control them in some way. But we understand that these things have appeared in our life for a certain reason. And as long as there's seems to be that need for continuing these relationships, then they would continue. But at a certain point, they may change. And these people may go out of your life, even within family members and sons. Some parents disown their sons or daughters. Some sons and daughters disown their parents. Because things change, and so these things happen. So that's one of the meaning. We don't, how can you call it my son? You don't control them. The son can leave house, run away, do anything, not even want you anymore. Oh, he's still my son, still my son. So we're clinging on only to these physical attributes. But the Buddha didn't do that. He saw through that. That's only one, the mundane aspect of the Dhamma. But as I've said before, Dhamma is always on two levels. There's the mundane level, and then there's the sort of super mundane level, or the conventional level, or the relative level, conventional level, and then the sort of level of wisdom, or the absolute level. So the Buddha, in most of his teachings, he is really addressing that that sort of higher or absolute level of the Dhamma. So that's why whenever you read something like this, the mind takes offense. Ask yourself, why am I getting offended by that? It seems like the Buddha is putting down normal mundane existence. Well, he did, actually. To put it bluntly, there's no other way to say it, because many times you read in the suttas, the Buddha says, I don't condone becoming for a finger snap. And becoming means being attached to, things in the world and developing more binding karma that's going to get you reborn again and again. But again, the Buddhist mind was talking from that very, high Dhamma point of view. And so, but, not that everyone is going to be able to practice at that very high level, but at least understanding that higher level rather than just, like a fool would say, that's crazy. That doesn't mean anything. Completely refute that. So, because everything that comes to us again can change and vanish. We might be wealthy one day, the stock market could crash, or any number of other things. That wealth could vanish. Was that wealth really yours? The Buddha's definition of something is yours means you should have control over it 24/7, from birth until death. Like even your own sense of self or I, your own body. But we can see we don't, because these things do things that we don't like even. That we can't control, right? Like even be a slave to your own ego, being a slave to your addiction. You want to quit, but you can't. So how can you say you're in control of your mind, your own self? So, this is reflection from the Dhamma, point of view. Maybe that generates any questions out there? Okay, here's a question. What to do if you don't have any Dhamma friends in your immediate circle? Find some. Go on the internet. Go knocking door to door. Nowadays it's not that difficult to find or hear about somebody who is at least somewhat interested in, in meditation or the Dhamma, whether it's, even if it's not the Buddha Dhamma, but some kind of Dhamma that, they're following, good ethics and are kind of person, and this and that is not involved in, a lot of negative things. Even those kind of persons can be, all right. But especially, ones who would like to meditate. And there are a lot of people that would like to learn to meditate, but they don't have the opportunity. And so, that's why start your own yoga classes, start your own meditation classes. That's what, and then people find out about it, they may come. So there is a way, there's the old saying, there's a will, there's a way. You can find some kind of friends, hopefully. But it depends on what circle that you're running with too. Now it says, one of these guys in the riots who was a QAnon believer, this shaman that you probably saw, they said that he practiced yoga and so on. But I don't know. Nowadays it can be a lot of nothing is not sure. Okay. So there's the story that's connected with this verse. A wealthy but miserly person was reborn as a hideous-looking beggar. So there was a wealthy person, but he's very miserly. And because of the miserly, he was born as a beggar. And one day it happened that this beggar, he saw the house where he used to live. And he said, oh, that's my house in the previous life, Thinking he still could just walk in, right? So he entered the house, but he was quickly booted out because his relatives, of course, didn't recognize him. Maybe it had been a year or more since that person had died, and even then they wouldn't recognize him. So they booted him out of the house and pushed him out onto the rubbish heap. Then the good old Buddha, right? So the Buddha who was passing that way, just by chance, right? So the Buddha noticed this beggar on the heap. And then he went and told the son. He says, that beggar that you pushed out of the house? That was none other than your own dead father. It doesn't say what the son's reaction was. But, probably, if he was a follower of the Buddha, he might have believed it. If he wasn't, he might have, not. But anyway, it's so that's just a story to the story behind that verse is that this son, this guy thought he still had the son in the house, right, or had the wealth in the house. It was still should be his, but it's not. You can't call him your son anymore. Son's going to say, no, my father was so and so. So a couple of more questions here. If there is family or co-worker who come to your life and who are difficult, if it is karma, should we bear with it and wait for the karma to end? Or should we find a way to avoid them? Now it's true that, everything that we encounter in life, is, comes to us, we may not know really the reason. Most people say it's chance and, it's chance maybe, but it's also could be some karmic connection. And if they're difficult, then we should accept that. If we can't immediately get away from them, then we have to accept it as a challenge. Okay, how can I deal with this person in an effective way? And you can put yourself in that person for one thing and try to understand where they're coming from and why they are difficult to you. And then you can also examine your own opinions and in subtle attachments to why this person you're reacting to this person in that way. Maybe there's some truth to what this person is saying or not. But anyway, or to develop an equanimity or practice metta. So we try to do that as long as possible. But if there's we don't have to deliberately, if there's a way that we don't have to, see this person so often, we shouldn't think that we should deliberately stay in that relationship just to get more tormented by the person. But if there's not much way out of it, then we have to learn how to deal with it in the best way. But if there is a choice that doesn't cause other complications, then you could choose not to to change that situation. It's not that you're running away from that necessarily, but if it's doing more detriment to you than good, that's always the criterion for whatever you're doing in life. Is what I'm doing now decreasing unwholesome mental states and increasing wholesome mental states, then continue with that. But whatever you're doing, if it's decreasing your wholesome mental states and increasing your unwholesome mental states, then you should leave that person, that situation, and go on your way. Especially if there's no way out. Let's say, a child who's with the abusive parents, for example. Of course, as a young child, they can't do much about it, but at a certain point, they could call child services and lodge complaints, or when they get a certain age, they could leave, if they felt that there's no way, around that. So, every situation is different, and no one can tell you what you should or should not do in any situations. But, it's through our practice of meditation and getting more in touch with our deeper feelings and so on that we'll be able to more clearly see, the proper situation. Because even at, like at the Bhavana Society, where I lived for 20 years, there came some, out of compassion, we let a couple of, some monks or nuns stay at the center. But, they, through some of their own mannerisms and emotions, they rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But, we tolerated them for quite a long time. But at a certain point, they had been asked to leave the center because they were, others were complaining about them. Why were you letting people stay here, and this and that. And so it was causing more disruption than it was any positive benefit. So that was an example when, we took some positive action, we asked them to leave. So like that. Okay, another question. A friend of mine lost her dog last week. She thinks it is in the heaven playing with another of her close friends and takes comfort in that, and it is saving her from depression, maybe saving her from depression. Is this verse going to shatter her? Now, maybe it's true. Maybe her other friend is playing with her dog in heaven. It could be. You never know. I don't know if they have dogs in heaven, though, actually. The dog would be in the animal realm. But anyway, okay, a person is creating a fantasy to comfort some sadness. And if it's nothing really that bad, I mean, if she just does it knowing that it may not ultimately be true, but she gets a pleasant feeling from it, and it's not hurting anybody else, I would say, wouldn't let it bother her, because it may have been just recently that the dog died. after a year or two, the person's probably going to forget all about it. So, but, anytime there's a strong bond, whether it's between, like your mother or father died, or a woman loses their husband, or vice versa, they grieve. It's naturally you're going to grieve for a while, unless a person is at least a once-returner. They're still going to grieve. So, but that naturally wears off. In most cases, it wears off after usually a period of time. So, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing that this lady is thinking these things. So you don't have to explain this verse to her, by the way. One other question. How do I combine the teaching of verse 61 with the vow to help others walk with me on the same path, even if they lag behind? Well, in verse 61, about if you don't find somebody who's equal or better, then pursue your solitary career. That doesn't mean you have to totally abandon people. But, there's some people you over and over again, you try to explain, and give them advice, do this, but they're not heeding it, and they're not heeding it. And you kind of just, wasting your breath over and over and over again, suggesting things that you think might help it, and the people, for whatever reason, don't follow that, then it's not up to you to keep going out of your way and exhausting yourself. It doesn't mean you have to totally abandon them, but you can stop going out of your way to always remind them, oh, you should get up early for meditation, this and that. Because, they have to work out their own karma too. But it doesn't mean you have to be cold to them. You can still be friendly to them. You still, do things, but don't think that you have to, pull them up by their bootstraps, in your practice, in your friendship. So all these, everyone has to, using your own mindfulness and understanding, you have to balance all these things, because there's no absolute do's and don'ts in any of these kind of situations, really. But again, if you find yourself okay with that, and it's not dragging your own practice down, then you continue to, try to help certain persons. Because if you totally abandon them, then they may totally abandon any type of practice whatsoever, and then revert back into, unwholesome habits and things like that then you might feel guilty for. But again, everybody has their own karma and life to work out. We have our own to work out. Others have their own to work out. And if we can help do that together, that's fine. But sometimes, it may not. And so anyway, it's, it's a little bit difficult to try to reconcile all those things. Okay, it's already getting a little bit. I think we'll stop there with that verse 63. and continue with that on 64, 65, and so on next week. Okay, does anybody have any last questions on any of those that you want to? Raise your hand and verbally ask a question? Okay, if not, then let's take a few minutes break to, and then come back in a few minutes for the yoga session. So just try to stand straight. Relax your arms at the sides. Feel your feet pressing the floor. Try to mentally feel the height and weight of the body over the feet. And begin some deep, slow breathing. Taking about 3 seconds to slowly breathe in, expanding your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 3 seconds if you can. And feel the relaxing contractions of the out breath. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. And the next in breath. We combine these movements with that deep, slow breathing. So on the next in breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, bend back a little bit. On the out breath, turn the palms down, touch the top of the head. Again, in breath, palms up, straighten the arms. Stretch up. Out. Third time. Hold that upward stretch longer. Bend back a little more. Now release the fingers, the out breath, arms back to the side. Close the eyes, try to feel the increased pulsations, tingling sensations in your fingers, hands, arms. Just remember standing, 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 the present moment of the body, letting go of other thoughts, the past and future. And on the next in breath, push up on the toes and raise the arms over the head in this way, facing the hands toward each other. Stretch up. Out breath, back down, arms to the side, heels to the floor. Use the breath to help lift and lower the body. In breath. Out. In. Out. Relax. Let's close the eyes. Feel the subtle sensation. If you can't feel any sensations, feel your feet pressing the floor. Remember standing, standing. Next, we'll do the knee bending. On the in-breath, again, push up on the toes and lift the arms up front. Balancing. On the out-breath, bend the knees and lower down. Balancing on the front of the feet, the balls of the feet, toes. In-breath up. All the way up on the toes. Out. In. Out. The out-breath, relax. Feel the increased heart beating, or the pulsations. Feel the clothing touching the skin on different places. Just this body exactly as it is, here and now. Present moment awareness. Standing, standing, standing. And next we'll do the side bending using both arms. On in-breath, raise both arms up. And keep your fingers and arms straight, close to the head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side. As far as you comfortably can, feel the stretch in the side. In-breath, lift up. And the other side, out-breath. In, out. In, the out-breath, lower the arms. Relax. Just keep the attention focused in on the body. Remember standing, standing, standing. Now, spread the feet apart, at least 3 feet, wider the better. And hold the arms out at the sides. We'll do twisting from right to left. We'll breathe in. Look at the right hand on the out breath, twist around to the right. Keep the eyes focused on the hand going back. In breath, back to the front. Let the feet turn with the body. And the other side, out breath. In breath, front. Again to the right, out breath. In. Out. In. Once more to each side. Relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the hands touching the legs. Feel the clothing touching the skin on different places. Don't give the mind any time to wander in thoughts. There's always something to feel on the body. And now we'll do the forward and backward bending. Be careful with the back bends. Don't bend back too far the first time. Let the hands touch the front of your legs. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Let the hands slide down to the kneecaps the first time. Keep the head up. Try to flatten the spine. Get the hump out of the spine. Arch the spine downward. In breath, lift up. Hands under the buttocks for support. Let the head go back. And out breath, gently bend back. Not too far. In breath, lift up. On the out breath, again forward. Let the hands come down below the knees. Still keep the head up. Legs straight, arms straight. In. Again, the back bend, out breath. In. And the third time, let the hands come down as far as you can toward the feet. And hold that position longer. Feel the stretch in the back of the leg. In the in-breath, stand up, straighten up. Once more, the back bend, out breath. In. And the out breath is relax. Feel the whole body. Each foot pressing the floor. Hands touching the legs. Clothing touching the skin on different places. The head balanced on top. Feeling the subtle sensations all over the body. Vibrations, pulsations. Some minor aches or pains. Some bodies trembling or movement. Okay, now bring the legs and feet back together. Just one last exercise, the head turning. Just stand straight, relax the arms at the sides. In breath, turn the head to the right to look over the right shoulder. Out breath, turn 180 degrees back to the left to look over the left shoulder. In breath, right. Concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Imagining them, feeling them, loosening up. Out breath, left. In breath, right. Out breath, left. On the in breath, let the head stop in the middle. Feel the whole body. And feel the outline of the whole standing body. All the subtle vibrations, sensations. Standing, standing, standing. Okay, now go ahead and come back to our seats. Get ready for the sitting meditation. For this guided meditation, keep your attention focused more on your own body and mind. Just try to get comfortable in sitting posture. Keep your back of the head and spine in a straight line. You can try to find that center of gravity of the head and spine over your hips. The tipping point where you could either tip forwards or backwards. Keep the chin raised up, level with the floor. once you place your hands in position, try not to move them during the whole meditation period. Just gently close the eyes and move your total attention down to feel where your buttocks press the seat. Feel that contact, that pressure, solid feeling. The buttocks pressing the seat. You feel the sensations. You feel each buttock, right and left buttock. Just sort of imagine and feel that 100 or more pounds of the body is pressing the buttocks on the seat. Just remind yourself of sitting. And let the awareness move down your legs toward your knees, feeling where the clothing touches the skin of the leg. Or any other sensations you might notice on the leg. And moving over the kneecap and down to the lower leg. And sort of feel anything on the surface of the skin, the clothing, anything from within the muscle tissue. And then just coming to feel your heels. Heels are pressing the floor the whole time during the yoga. Should be lots of sensations there. Subtle pulsations or warmth. It's like focusing a magnifying glass. And feeling the rest of the foot, the feet, the arches, the balls of the feet, and the toes. So mentally scan the whole feet, feeling those different sensations. Present moment awareness. Remember sitting, with feet around the sitting body. Now let the awareness move up to feel your hands and fingers, subtle pulsations. Feel where your thumbs of fingers touch together, where they touch the body. Just remember sitting. Now feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. Feel where the clothing touches the skin of your shoulders, arms. Or any other sensations you might notice in your shoulders or arms. And now try to feel the clothing touching the base of your neck, where the neck joins the body, or any other sensations on the neck. Moving the attention up to feel your chin, and feel the lips touching together. Sensation of dryness or moistness in the lips. And feel the tongue laying in the mouth, where the tongue touches any teeth. Now feel the eyes resting in the socket. And the eyelids stretched over the eyeball. Feel the subtle little eye movement. You might see some light or color, mental image. And feel the skin of the face stretched over the front of the skull, forehead, nose, cheeks, jaw, chin, sort of mentally feeling it from the inside. See if you can get the feeling of kind of just The awareness originating just behind the eyes, looking over the eyeballs, feeling the face, sensation. There's a video cam resting behind the eye. From that point behind the eyes, try to let the awareness open up a little. Feel the outline or sitting body. All those different sensations that you were noticing separately. Try to hold that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. Now in one glance, you can feel buttocks and feet underneath, arms at the sides, the hands, clothing touching the skin on different places, the head balanced on top. It's called the whole body awareness. It's a function of relaxed consciousness. Body-centered awareness. So feel that organic aliveness in the whole body. Sitting, present moment, awareness. And now begin some deep, slow breathing again, like during the yoga exercise. Take at least 3 seconds to slowly expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Holding the air in the lungs, 2 or 3 seconds. Allow the oxygen to get into the bloodstream. And feel the relaxing contractions of the out breath. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. And then the next in breath. Just take a few more deep breaths like that, cultivating this basic mindfulness. And breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. And we'll count our breaths from 1 to 10. Try to stay more clearly focused. With the next expanding in breath, count 1. Feel the brief pause. Contracting out breath, count 1. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. Next in breath, 2. Out breath 2. In breath 3. Out breath 3. In breath 4. Out breath 4. In breath 5. Out breath 5. In breath 6. Out breath 6. In breath 7. Out breath 7. In breath 8. Out breath 8. In breath 9. Out breath 9. In breath 10. Out breath 10. And discontinue the counting. Discontinue any controlling the breathing. Let the breathing return to its shorter, uncontrolled rhythm. We continue to feel it with moment to moment attention. Feel the subtler expanding, contracting sensation. Try to feel where the clothing rubs against the skin of your belly, rib cage, your chest. While expanding and contracting, you can go as the focus of your concentrated awareness. Just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling it. Try to feel the 4 phases of the breathing process. Expanding in breath with the brief pause. Contracting out the breath with the brief pause. Notice how each breath is different. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes the in-breath is longer than the out-breath, or the out-breath is longer than the in-breath. It's always changing. If it helps you to stay focused or remember, use these mental notes. In sitting, out, out, sitting. We're just breathing in, sitting, breathing out, sitting. Just remember that much. It's not much to remember. The brief pauses between the breaths, until you feel the outline of the sitting body. Find the head or spine slouching, mindfully straighten out. Keep the chin lifted up level to the floor. An alert posture equals an alert consciousness. Slouching body equals a slouching mind. In sitting, out, out, sitting. The ongoing, continuous connection to the present moment. This breathing body is the anchor of the mind, the present moment. If you catch the mind being caught up in thinking, just recognize it, it's thinking. Gently let go of the thought. Coming back, reconnect with the breathing, the recenter, the breathing body. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. There's too many thoughts, so the mind is drowsy. Come back and takes a few deep, slow breaths. Stay awake, stay grounded in the body. Even while feeling the breathing, you can also feel other sensations coming and going, different places through the body, itching, prickling sensation, scratching sensation, stinging sensation, aches or pain. Like having an alert microphone embedded inside the body. Mindfulness is like having a microphone embedded all throughout the body. You pick up so many different sensations, arising and vanishing, coming and going. Painful sensations, pleasant sensations, neutral sensations. You can also detect thoughts or urges arising in the mind. You hear sounds. The mind is calm and focused enough to tune into the flow of impermanence from moment to moment. The in-breath comes and goes. Some other body sensation comes and goes. Pulsation comes and goes. Feelings of clothing against the skin come and go. Just keep turning up the power of mental microscope. Notice subtler and more sensation, thought coming and going. This body and mind has a life of its own. Try to get the feeling that you have a front row seat, theater, watching the movie, the body sitting and breathing, sensations coming and going, thoughts and urges coming and going. Just as in watching a movie, you don't take the movie to be yourself. You own and control the movie. In the same way, cultivate this detached, onlooking awareness. The movie of this body and mind, moment by moment, breath by breath. in, sifting, breathing out, sifting, sensations come and go, perceptions and thoughts come and go, sounds come and go, drowsiness comes and goes. These are all just a continuous flow of change and permanence with this body and mind. Just beneath all of that impermanence and change, and drowsiness, and mental chaos, it's the parallel dimension, the now, present moment awareness, it's grounded in the breathing body. This breathing body is the lifeline, life preserver to the present moment. We lose that connection to the breathing body, to the present moment. And the mind gets easily lost and tossed about in the stormy wave of convoluted thinking, erotic thinking, greed, hatred, and deluded thought, worry, anxiety, fear. Let's cultivate that connection to the breathing body, carry this body with us 24/7, 365. It's never far away, literally just beneath your nose. It's the only thing that's trustworthy, that you always have immediate access to. Dukkha pata chani dukkha bhaya pata chani bhaya sukha pata chani sukha Hantu sabbi pipaninu. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way, may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. And thus spoke the Buddha. Now I invite you to finish the meditation, join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly with out breath. Put the hands together at the chest you can. Take a deep breath. Is this on now? Sorry, friends, if my voice wasn't recurring during that guided meditation very much because I had the microphone not turned on. So sorry about that. Even we lose our mindfulness sometimes. Okay, friends, so thanks for joining this weekend Dhamma discussion. So hope you're able to have a decent meditation or guide yourself through that meditation. Don't forget mindfulness a day keeps dukkha away. Sutta a day keeps delusion away. And Namo Buddhaya, that means at any point in time, awareness and wisdom is always available. It's beneath our nose, the present moment, the body. Somebody's saying I could hear you fine, no issue with the microphone. How many others could hear me all right during that guided meditation? Just raise your hand.
Bhante, we could hear you quite well.
Okay, so
yeah, there's a little more echo, but we could hear.
Good. Okay, friends, thank you, and I wish you a nice, pleasant week. For those of you getting some snow today, we're getting snow here today and on the east coast of the U.S., maybe in Canada too. So enjoy that.
Monday, Tuesday.